Okay, so I've just finished reviewing Broadside, and I thought to myself, I don't really want to end my reviewing day on Broadside because his last mode was a bit wank. So I had to look at my list, see who was next up, and it's Overlord, and I gave a little yay because I've been looking forward to reviewing this figure for a long time now. Overlord's a character that I like a lot. Has had a lot of different interpretations over the years. I'm not. I know the gist of his Marvel and IDW characters, but the one that I'm most interested in is the Master Force version. So I'll quickly go over because I'm going to be fucking talking a lot about this. We'll go over the IDW stuff. Last Stand of the Wreckers, he escaped from Garrus 9 and the Wreckers had to go in, and fucking Overlord was being a general bastard and killing everybody. Then he was fucking a prisoner on the Lost Light, and he went around killing everybody again, and he was basically a bastard who fucking seemed to just want a piece of Megatron. Apparently Megatron had bested him in battle, and Overlord wanted his revenge. And the Titans Return Machinima series, kind of similar sort of thing. He murdered the High Priestess, or whatever she's called. He wanted a piece of Megatron again, and Overlord in those interpretations was a cruel, sadistic, malicious force. And he was a legit badass with no compromises, no wavering or anything like that. Whereas Megatron, in IDW, he became an Autobot and he fucking turned to the side of good, which I fucking loved, by the way. And then in Titans Return, he was more reluctantly swayed to the side of good. In the Machinima series overall, the Prime Wars Machinima series. But Overlord was just unwavering in his evil. And I kind of dig that. However, in Master Force, Super God Master Force, the Japanese-only series, G1 continuation, it carried on after Headmasters, it fell between Headmasters and Victory. Master Force was fucking tragic. You could argue Headmasters was as well, because Cybertron got destroyed and Mars got destroyed. Zarek blew up 2 fucking planets. In Master Force, you've got fucking the Headmaster Juniors kicking a dog. I think it was Wilder. Because you had Wilder. I know the crab was called Cancer, and I know that created some fucking controversy. Because, cancer. But you had, I think, Wilder, and I think the other one became a Bullhorn, would it be? Western name? I'm not entirely sure. I can't remember the names of the fucking Decepticon Juniors. One of them fucking killed a dog by kicking it. And they had a funeral and everything for it. It was touching but shocking. And then the Decepticons nearly killed a fucking horse when the Autobots were trying to recruit Ranger. Because they all had weird names. Ranger, Lander, fucking Clouder. Yeah, they nearly killed a horse. And I mentioned this with when I did my top 10. We'll get to the toy eventually, but I mentioned this when we did the top 10, that the reason Dark Blackwing and Dreadwind weren't in my top 10 there, any honourable mentions, was because the characters didn't really I didn't relate to the characters. I didn't gravitate towards those characters because they were the ones that in Master Force, Buster and Hydra. Yeah, name one of your sons after water or a Marvel terrorist group. They didn't want to be human. They wanted to like become fully integrated Cybertronian, so they shed their humanity. And I was like, well, I guess it's okay. It's a nice twist on that. Personally, if I was one of those fucking Godmasters or whatever they were, then I would want to retain some humanity. You know, carry on as the hybrid. But against that, you had fucking Shooter, Cab and Minerva, the Autobot Headmaster Juniors, trying to sway fucking Cancer, Wilder, and I remember what he looks like. It was big and boorish and had fucking long orange hair. And yeah, they were trying to like convert them. Fucking Clowder was the fucking double dealer, was the fucking double agent who fucking infiltrates the Autobot base, helps blow up their fucking house, and then says, I want to join the Autobots. I mean, yes, you realise you done fucked up, son, but Jinro was just like, okay. It's like, what? He's just blown up your fucking house, and now he wants to be mates, and you're, yeah, fine, let's do it. But that isn't where it ends with God Jinrai. And this isn't me ragging on God Jinrai, because I do think this is a great character trait. Sorry, I've just had a bath, so my ears are all... It's a great character trait for God Jinrai. And that he was always trying to preserve humanity. He was trying to save everybody, even his enemies. And so Clowder had just fucking helped infiltrate and blow up the Autobot base. Sorry. Ugh. Fucking hell, sorry about that. Water in my ears, I'm guessing. Yeah, so Clowder had just fucking infiltrated and helped blow up the Autobot base, realised the error of his ways, and Jinrai gives him a chance. Gives him a second chance. And he did the same with Overlord. He was always trying to fucking say to Overlord, look, this isn't the way. This isn't the right way. He fucking did it to Six Knight as well. Because Six Knight challenges him, Jinrai beats him, and then Six Knight realises he was beaten by a human. And in that, there's like this alliance built up between Six Knight and fucking Jinrai. And he was always trying to fucking convert Overlord and sway Overlord to the side of good, Giga and Mega. And the really tragic thing is that when he finally succeeds, spoilers for a fucking 30-plus-year-old TV show that only aired in Japan, by the way, when he finally fucking succeeds, they have their power taken away from them by Devil Z. And then they die. I think the Headmaster Juniors survived. They too were converted. They were not converted, but they were turned to the side of good. And then they lost their power, and so did Giga and Mega. They were expelled from Overlord. And then they died. And it was... You know, Master Force was a fucking tragic show. It's a really good show. It surprised me. I've always considered the Takara trilogy kind of runs along the same lines as the Star Wars prequels for me. Headmasters and the Phantom Menace were disappointing. Attack of the Clones and Super God Master Force were surprisingly enjoyable. I liked them both more than I thought I would. And Victory and Revenge of the Sith were the best ones of the bunch. So, yeah, those kind of run parallel. But that Master Force series was just, it was strange, but it was engaging, and it was good to see Jinrai attempt that. Like, even though he's facing Overlord, he still sees something in them. He still believes them. He sees their humanity. It's a lot different to Optimus Prime and Megatron because they've been at this for millions of years. They're not even human. They have humanity traits, sure, but they're not human. But Jinrai all of a sudden is thrust into this position. He's a 18-year-old truck driver from Japan, and all of a sudden he's a human fighting the Autobot war and against human Decepticons, and it's like, this isn't how it should be. You're better than this. Humans are better than this. And yeah, that was just, it's one of those things that I really enjoyed about the series. I feel like Clouder got off lightly, but apart from that, you know, it does show a good character trait with Jinrai, and I'm not saying he's better than Optimus Prime, or Optimus Prime should have tried that, because it's a different set of circumstances. Because Optimus Prime and Megatron have been at it for millions of years, and there wasn't, for millions of years, there wasn't that human interaction or anything like that. But Jinrai born a human, Giga and Mega born humans, it was one of those things where it works for them, and it worked for Jinrai, and it just made the story overall bittersweet, which, yeah, I really enjoyed. Anyway, let's look at the toy. He isn't a Power Master, but he is a Headmaster. Although he does have this nice little thing there where you can stick a couple of Titan Masters in his chest to simulate Mega and Giga. I believe the Takara version came with extra Titan Masters of Mega and Giga. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. Well, his Titan Master is Dreadnaut, which I believe was, I think Giga was the husband, Mega was the wife. Because yeah, Mega and Giga were husband and wife. They were fucking married. And they treated the Headmaster Juniors like the kids. So there was a weird fucking twisted family thing going on there as well. Let's have a look at Dreadnaut. Got his little green head, and the face is painted in as well. We're getting a good look at him actually, aren't we? I believe the eyes are painted as well. I don't know. He's got that grey body and the black arms and legs. But yeah, definite. Yeah, it's a nice little Titan Master, that. And then, if I can just get it around. The head sculpt is nice as well. Some nice lines on the face and that goatee and that fucking evil look. There's not really a lot to say, just look at it. Just look at it. It's beautiful. Right, let's put him back in his body. And let's take a look at the figure properly. There we see his face. So you've got that black that goes under the blue, which I like. I dig that. Just adds an extra bit of colour to it. Like the black ridge around the helmet outline. The helmet's really nice. And it all goes together really well. You've got some lovely detailing on the chest there. With a nice mix of white and all that sculpting in there. It's really showing up beautifully. And then little bits of blue and silver as well in the chest panels. Nice little subtle thing there. And then down here you've got the 6 missile launchers in his gut that don't fire, but they're still there. It's a nice touch. And grey paint there. He's got his willy wheel on the waist and hips. Crotch area. Up here we've got the purple points, the rounded like cones, and some nice detailing on the arms as well, upper arms and forearms. And down here on the legs we've got a few stickers, a couple of stickers on the shins, below the knees. That mint green goes with the blue and the purple nicely. Overlord did rock the miscast colours really well, I'll say that. You've got purple and white and blue and black and grey and mint green. A lot of colours in this guy. And it made it work. Because it was always, the character was built up so well, even the Mega Giga version from Master Force built up so well that you don't fuck with him or her. Gun is purple. It's standard. It's the same as the Sky Shadow gun, just not painted as well, which is a shame. But, you know, I'm not gonna, doesn't detract from it. Also on the forearm this side you've got a Decepticon symbol, sticker. And then that bit you've got the jet nose part that comes out. So, yeah. Around the back, not a lot of kibble. I mean, that jet part can connect there if you want to, but I don't want it to. Oops. Trying to push that down properly. I don't think it goes down any further actually. But yeah, all in all, I love this figure. It was one of those, when I found out it was coming out, I had to have. It's not like Broadside where I just got it because it was there. And Overlord was on my list. When it comes to Tartan Returns, because you know how much I love Tartan's Return, yeah. Broadside definitely, Overlord, sorry, definitely made the list. That detaches for some reason, not entirely sure why, but yeah, fine. Interesting thing I need to remember about that when I go to his jet mode. So I mentioned something in the Black Shadow review, Sky Shadow review, sorry, about the jets. And I've just figured out, yes, I was right. It was articulation. Head goes all the way around. It's a split helmet, as you get with a few of the leaders. Arms go all the way around. They go out. Surprisingly good clearance considering the massive fucking cones on his shoulders. Upper bicep swivel. Bend at the elbow. Wrist only goes in. No waist swivel. Legs go out. Rotates at the hip. Bend at the knees. And then you've got the same thing with a Sky Shadow with the ankle and the feet. And you can do that thing, I think Dan mentioned it in his review, just to make him look a little bit taller. Which I think I mentioned in the comments that, you know, I would probably, it kind of looks like high heels in a way. And if I had the Mega Giga version, the Master Force for the Takara version, I would probably go flat foot for Giga, because he's the husband. And then I would probably do that just to go for a bit of a high-heeled look for Mega, if I had the Mega Titan Master in there instead. Like that. Just to give it a bit of a heeled look. Just to say, yeah, the woman's rocking. The woman's in charge now, sort of thing. Or maybe that's not PC. Maybe that's anti-feminism. I don't know. But yeah, anyway. Let's have a look at a comparison between him and Sky Shadow, because they come from the same mold. Okay, so here we have Overlord and Sky Shadow. It's one of those things where it's quite strange, because repaints, the repaints I have from Titan's Return, or retools, remolds, whatever, you've usually got an Autobot and a Decepticon. Soundwave and Blaster, 6-shot and Quick Switch, but with these they're both Decepticons. A lot of differences between these two. You got the shoulders, for example. I mean, the helmets obviously are different, but the shoulders are different. Overlord has his purple cones, whereas Sky Shadow has the rounded missile fucking gun things. The chests are different. I mean, the whole chest and abdominal assembly is different. I mean, they've still got the same willy wheels, but I believe even the crotch is sculpted differently as well. Thighs. And the lower legs. Which I think the lower assembly is identical in terms of sculpting and moulding. And then the arms are different arms. Sky Shadow has different sculpted arms. Completely different sculpted arms. And obviously Overlord, his jet nose can detach. Don't think Sky Shadow's does. And Sky Shadow also has the wings on the back that Overlord doesn't have, which will lead to differences in the jet mode. And they both have those pieces there. So there are. It's not like it's an entirely new top mode and identical bottom modes. There are still some similarities between the two torsos. But yeah, it's impressive how different they are. Yeah, anyway, let's get Overlord into his vehicle modes, and then I can do another comparison after that. Okay, so we'll get the tank out of the way first, because it's pretty much identical to Sky Shadow's tank. We'll have a look when we do the comparison. But yeah, it's everything that was good about Sky Shadow's tank. It's just not in black and red. So I believe in Master Force, Giga rode the tank. So, yeah, it's kind of like that, I don't want to say more effeminate. I don't know, actually. I can't remember. Maybe they swapped every now and then. You know, they are husband and wife. They do share everything. I don't know. So I'm just going to stop there. But this does kind of like, you know, the purple and the blue and the light minty green kind of thing. It does kind of, I think the female would rock this more. Or back in the 80s anyway. Because I know I'm trying not to be sexist or non-PC here. I'm just saying that in terms of colour palette, I'm just going to stop. I'm not even going to go with that. A couple of Decepticon stickers on there. You can fit Dreadnaut in there and close it down, so yeah. And it rolls, and you've got the gun on the end. Turret doesn't swivel. Forgot to mention that with the Sky Shadow review. The jet, different jet to Sky Shadow. It's mainly black, like Sky Shadow, but it has that white for the arms, which helps break up all the black a bit as well, I guess. And a few sticker details on there that, again, not a fan of. And I think Dan mentioned it in his review that one of the arms is a little bit loose, like it doesn't lock up as good. Until you put the fin down, I have the same issue, so it seems to be an ongoing thing. You've got a sticker there, but that's painted, so at least there's not an overabundance of stickers. And there was the thing that I mentioned with the jet mode of Sky Shadow, where I thought you could put him in underneath. Now, with Overlord, you can put Dreadnaut in the top cockpit area, but see, that's where that idea came from, that's where that theory came from, because you can actually put Dreadnaut in from the top or from the bottom, which is a neat little touch. So yeah, decent little add-on there that I appreciate. But yeah, the jet mode is decent enough. It's sleeker, it doesn't have the big sharp wings, but it's still a nice jet mode. Underneath you can fucking tell, can't you? But you know, this isn't about underneath. I've not tried doing a combination, like combining the tank and the jet, 'cause I've heard it's not worth your time. So I'm not even going to go there. I mean, I'm guessing it's something like that. I don't know. I'd say not worth my time. This is a great toy, let's not spoil it. Yeah. Jet mode, nice. Tank, nice. They're not in red and black though. So let's see how they stack up with Sky Shadow's vehicle modes. Okay, so we'll get the tanks out of the way first, because they are pretty much identical, except for colour. And I still love fucking Sky Shadow's black and red tank mode. They both have the Decepticon symbol stickers, but Sky Shadows are bigger. They both have the cockpits where the Titan Masters can sit. And I believe everything is moulded the same. So you've got that round area there that's painted on Sky Shadows. Yeah, they, for all intents and purposes, are identical except for colour. So let's take the tanks out the way and look at the jets, because that's where most of the differences lie in terms of their vehicle modes. So here we have Sky Shadow's jet mode and Overlord's jet mode. And Sky Shadow has that little extension bit thrown on just for good measure. But it's like I said before in the robot mode, touched upon it briefly, they have this bit. However, they are moulded differently. If you look at, it's hard to tell because it's black, but if you look at that, the sculpting on these panels here, and then compare it with Sky Shadows, which is gold, so it's easier to tell that they're different. And yeah, they're different sculpting there. Obviously, Sky Shadow has the wings, whereas Overlord has the smaller fins. And then Sky Shadow has the different arms with the missiles. And then Sky Shadow also has that little fin at the back, the extra fin. Overlord has those two on his forearms. Sky Shadow has two here and then an extra one there. And then obviously Overlord, as I mentioned, has the dual cockpit. You could take him out the top or the bottom. Sky Shadow only has the top one. But yeah, a lot of differences in the jet modes. It's quite impressive, really. I mean, I mentioned before how in the Broadside review how they turned Broadside, Alpha Trion, into Broadside, and bless them, they tried. But you know, when it came to Sky Shadow and Overlord, it's a success. Complete success. So there they are in their vehicle modes, jets and tanks, and they all look lovely. And I do love fucking Sky Shadow's black and red colour scheme, but his drawback is that Overlord's a more memorable character, I guess. Anyway, let's get into the base mode for Overlord. Okay, so this is Overlord in his base mode, which... This is why I was so surprised when I did Sky Shadow's base mode. I'll bring him back in a sec for the comparison, but it's just so different. I mean, there are obviously similarities with the legs, but it's just the whole upper assembly transforms differently for Overlord's base mode as well. And you've even got that dual cockpit opening, makes a platform as well for a Titan Master to stand on, so he can fucking stand up there and look over everything and observe his fucking minions and shit. It's really a nice little touch, that. Yeah. It's a decent little base mode. I'm not going to complain about it. It's pretty nice. It's almost like a rocket shuttle fucking launching pad, isn't it? I do like it. And it's nice and compact and neat. And yeah. Let's bring in Sky Shadow just so we can get a good look at them both together. Because, yeah. And there you see just how different they actually are. I mean, the whole leg assembly there is pretty much identical. But you have Overlord in a more sitting position and Sky Shadow in a laying down position, with only that nose cone of his jet pointing up, which I just pulled off. The guns go into the same place, but do these come forward actually? Can I bring these forward to hide the legs a bit? I might not have done this in the last one actually, just bear with me. Right. Let's use my knees. Uno memento. Yeah. So put them there. I neglected to mention that I forgot to do that bit in the original review. Don't know if it's necessary, but you know, it kind of like hides the thighs a bit better, I guess. And then I think it actually opens up a couple of extra Titan Master ports there. Pegs, even, just there. So yeah, I mean, obviously this isn't a completely flat surface, so it's hard to get them into position properly, but you can tell that they've done a really good job with these figures, in differentiating them. I mean, Soundwave and Blast are both great figures, but they are the same in all modes. Sorry. Like I said, with Broadside, bless them, they tried, but this they've knocked it out the park. They've fucking nailed it. Tanks are the same, but that's fine because it's a decent enough tank. Fucking jets are different, the robots are different, even the bases are different. It's a real success. These two figures are, both of them. But yeah, Overlord is great. I highly recommend him. I even highly recommend Sky Shadow, because they're just both fucking fantastic figures. Anyway, let's get to the wrap up and then we will call it a day. So yeah, cracking pair of figures there, Overlord and Sky Shadow. Like I said, it's a success. They took Sky Shadow and made him into Overlord, and a fucking out and out. If every mode was identical, I'd have still been happy with that, because as long as I did the sculpting and made them look different, but the tank and the jet were the same, or the fucking base modes were the same. I mean, I expected the base modes to be the same, not so much the tank and the jet. Well, the tanks are the same. I didn't expect the jets to be the same. It's just amazing how much they've put into it, how much thought and attention they've put into it. And they could have easily copped out, but they didn't. And like I said, they could have done the identical base modes. They could have done identical jet modes except for the wings. But they didn't. They put a lot of thought and care into it, and they deserve commending for that, because they took the same mold and they succeeded. And yeah, and the tank looks identical, and the lower legs on the robot, the rest of it, you wouldn't think they were the same fucking figure. So, good job on both of them. I think Overlord came second, so especially good job on Overlord for taking Sky Shadow and making it so different. Great figure. Can't recommend it enough. Might even be a case of both might make my top 10. And I never expected that for an obscure character like Sky Shadow. But then again, I'm a Victory fan, so I kind of know who he is. But, it's an interesting one. But yeah, that about wraps it up. Yesterday I reviewed fucking Wolfwire. That didn't go so well. Today I reviewed Broadside, and I didn't want to end on Broadside, so I threw in the Overlord review as well. So, yeah. It's been a good sign-off, a good end to this review cycle for me. Great figure. Like I said, highly recommend it. It's fucking fantastic. But yeah, that's pretty much all I've got to say about that. I'll be back with another review soon. I've been Mike Dezaras Prime. You've been awesome. Thank you for watching. You shall see me next time.